Hey there folks, Quentin here, Master Ramen on the internet with another comic book review, and I have here X Factor number 65. This takes place where the X-Men are all gone, and the ship, their base, their headquarters, called the Ship. It's an alien ship that used to belong to Apocalypse, is sort of broke down, and they're in the process of trying to fix it. And then it sort of cuts to Apocalypse, where his sort of minions are practicing the strategies to defeat X Factor. You know, a bunch of all these sort of guys here. And they sort of go back to X Factor, and it shows X Factor, all the members of X Factor who used to be the original members of the X-Men, and they're just sort of going through their lives, and you sort of see, Archangel sort of has like this friend, it's like sort of like his girlfriend, and her name is Charlotte. I kind of forgot about Charlotte, and not only that, but Iceman, and his sort of girlfriend Opal, and Scott and Jean together, of course. It's sort of showing them on their sort of what it's like when they're not sort of fighting villains and stuff. But then that sort of all comes to an end where the ship here, which is like this sort of tall building here, but it's a ship, is sort of infiltrated by Apocalypse's minions. And they sort of, this fight ensues, and the practice that they had sort of backfires on them, because Jean Grey, who sort of doesn't have her sort of psi powers, just her telekinetic powers, she sort of regains that, and that gives them the upper hand. And see here where she sort of taps that psi power, and then sort of immediately everyone sort of hears Jean, or they sense Jean, and then they sort of know that there's sort of danger there, and they're able to sort of turn it around back on Apocalypse. But the ship did pierce, their sort of vessel did pierce the ship, and it sort of dug into the structures, and sort of starting to infect ship's mind, and sort of starting to sort of break it down. Really great issue, written, I think, by Chris Claremont. The script is written by Chris Claremont, but the plot is Jim Lee and Wallace Portacio, and Wallace Portacio is also the penciler. Really one of those great uncanny X-Men artists, but also X Factor here. I give this book 8 out of 10. Really good sort of starting point for this this version of X Factor. Sort of, this is the furthest back of X Factor I've ever read. I've sort of had this for a while when all this comic book stores in the 90s started to close down. I got this book for like $3, or maybe even less, probably like $1.50, because back then they were all closing, and you get like half off books in the bin. So this is actually my first time reading this. I didn't buy this when it came out. I had already been into X-Men way after this. Like I said, 8 out of 10. Great book. Wallace Portacio, sort of at his best. Really great Apocalypse artwork and sort of Archangel stuff. Go ahead and like and subscribe to this channel to find out more comic book reviews. I do these, like, I'm starting to do it twice a week. Reading a lot of books. I'm really having a lot of fun. I also have my own comic book called Emergency Signal. I have a playlist. Go check that out. And I also have an eBay store. I do draw, and go ahead and check that out. It's Masked Ramen on eBay. Maybe you could buy some art or some other stuff that's up on there. That's it for me. Go ahead and leave a comment below, or if you have a suggested reading for me to do, or a review, let me know. Until then, God bless.